Oh, we're live. That's
We're not
confusing.
live. There's a countdown.
But it's counting up too.
Welcome to the live.
But
What's
it says
up?
we've been live for 15 seconds already, so that's weird.
Well, we were live, but then it's more of a visual thing. This is kind of an opening. I feel like we missed an opportunity here.
I don't understand. But yes, this weekend, AI.
We're going back. We're going back a name.
We go back, we go forward, we move around.
We got to get Barry and Mia and Noodle.
And don't forget KG Bot, he's the original.
True. KGG Bot is more of a mirror of you.
This is true. He commits under my name.
But we need to get them working on what the name. I think P0, highest priority right now, is the four of them need to come up with the right name for this podcast.
It's definitely the P0. Just give them workspace. They'll hash it out. But we should actually give them the previous content and then say based on this content. Do we get transcripts from these videos?
I just work here. I have no idea. They're all on YouTube. I think they're videos on YouTube. So
okay, so yeah, there's plenty of ways to
yeah, we can't be the first.
No. Okay.
So we have let's see, February 22nd, 3 views. February 27th, 4 views.
On
March
YouTube.
13th, just Mary. And then last week was 3 views. So cumulatively,
We're double digits.
we're double dig.
Wait, that's on YouTube? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, we have literally done 0 promotions, which
Incorrect. I did send out a tweet last week mid
that's
conversation
true.
that I don't even know if I read the tweet as I was typing it. So
It's definitely not AI generated.
yeah.
Speaking of AI,
It wasn't AI generated, but might have done better had it been.
how do we feel about AI content? I saw you commented on someone's LinkedIn post today about the nostalgia of things that AI is ruining. Is it all AI content bad? Speak about it.
I think it's less about AI content being bad, because I think even in the world where there's perfect AI content, and even that is such a flawed concept, it's more about if everyone has it, then you're no longer unique. So it's hard to have your own voice and your own input on the world if everybody is the same. And so an EM dash is not bad inherently. Punchy sentences aren't bad inherently. Purple design on a landing page isn't bad. But when everybody is purple, then it becomes, it doesn't stand out. So
This seems like a skill issue. Like people aren't adding enough customization to their AI bots or whatever.
I don't even know if it's that. I would say that it's leveled everyone up. Everyone's a better communicator. Everyone is a better designer. Everyone is a better, programmer. And so it's harder to distinguish who the actual, thoughtful voices are, because it's much easier for people to hide in the quality, I guess, of the content. So I think a good example is a code block used to be a very well detailed documentation. Code block used to be a signal that oh, this is high quality and I should read it. And now sort of the inverse has happened, where it's a long doc block is okay, this hasn't been devibed. It hasn't been iterated on enough to get the signal out of it. And I think that's sort of what's happening with the EM dash, and with there's a lot of thoughtlessness that we don't have good proxies for deeper thought. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like this is a very what's I'm looking for. It happens often when there's something new. It goes one side and it's then people like say, oh, wait a second, and then it goes back this side, and then it comes like, oh, wait a second, actually, let's go here. So we're still at this point where it's just like way too far on the pendulum swing that we haven't actually equaled out to everyone being like, this AI content sucks, and we need to get back to somewhere more in the middle.
Well, and not to like
watching that pendulum still swing.
Not to toot our own horn here, but I think it's the work that we're doing where I don't necessarily like the base models are always going to get better. There's intelligence there, but I think it is all around how you set up the rails for those agents. So like, I don't think even today, if the models stopped getting better, I don't think there really is bad AI content. It's more about figuring out what the signal and the noise is and the tools you have to do that, and how you get the most out of AI.
Yeah.
And that is by direction, right? Like there needs to be an output.
Yeah. I mean, I think part of the reason AI excites me so much is that there are so many opportunities, so many things that are undiscovered and unexplored, and the tooling is still very nascent. And so it's like there's a world ahead of things to actually do and work with AI on. Did my video cut out? No.
Yeah, are you connecting with a potato?
Is
that the internet that you're using?
Is it bad?
No, yes.
Okay, one sec. Let me switch.
Don't worry, I prepared for this.
Okay, I got a different potato.
Okay. We'll segue out of the night drive.
Yeah, no, I agree with what you're saying in terms of the rails and giving the right inputs to get differentiated and actually insightful and output. That's not just the AI like raw output, but rather human curated output.
Yeah, I would append to that, or maybe change just where you ended as to say, I don't think it needs to be human. I think if we can, create AI that is adding value to the world without human direction, I think that's a net positive too.
Yeah, it's just, I think still that would scream AI content, and that is what that was the premise of the conversation. But I agree. I don't think it's necessarily all bad. It's more so like not making it too saturated or too noisy.
Yeah, but for example, just to keep pushing on this, because I think maybe we disagree, and that's interesting. If undirected human content or AI content creates a really good movie, and I watch it, and I don't know that a human didn't direct it, like, are you saying that's bad? Like that's wrong?
No, like AI music, I don't want to like AI music necessarily.
What if you never knew? What if you can't distinguish between it?
Then because that's if you don't know that ignorance is bliss, like that, what are you gonna do? Like, yeah, that's fine. But still, I'm saying, as someone who loves music, I feel cheated if I know it's done all by AI, I guess.
If you found out today that like Bag Raiders, it never existed, and they were an AI band, like, would it change how you feel about the music?
Well, yes, because they were like very predating all of this AI stuff. So it'd be super impressive. So they're like geniuses, whoever did was behind that. So yes, I'd be very, very impressed and very happy with that.
All right, maybe we missed the point on that one.
But like, wow, that is impressive. What are they using?
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's say we found out that who was like a new artist.
This was me dating myself because I don't know any new artists that I could have referenced to that moment.
Let's say a new artist comes out and it's just purely AI, and they blow up. uh, I don't know. I just at a very basic level, I don't want to like AI music, but I still, if it's good, I'll listen to it, and I won't hate it. But I don't like my natural reactions to be like, no, no AI creative content.
I can see that being the like old man take. You know, like your kids will be telling you, check out this new artist. And you're like, oh, I don't listen to that artificial.
I mean, I'm definitely not going to do that because I know a lot of like older people around me did. So I'm definitely trying to resist that. But I know my natural inclination is like, nah, AI music, nah, no thanks. But still, like, I think I sent you the AI YouTube video, so it's not like I'm not digging it, or if it's good, like it's good. Like I've always been, I'm not sure.
You don't have to defend yourself in front of me, man. I know you're an AI music hater. It's fine.
No, my mantra's always been, if it's good, it's good, and I don't care if it's Britney Spears or Britney AI, but if it's good, it's good.
Let's run the tapes back. I'm glad we got this recorded. Just like 30 seconds ago, you said. Just kidding.
I said my natural inclination, but still at the bottom base layer, if it's good, it's good. What do you think about Stripe's projects.dev? It's a good domain, by the way.
It's a great domain.
You think that they're sitting on like thousands of domains?
They gotta be, right? They're like, oh, like, go grab projects.dev. Yeah, that'll work.
Anyway, yeah, projects.dev.
Remind me what projects.dev was again?
It allows you to obtain API access or like access keys to various services via the CLI.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So like
interesting foray for them specifically.
Yeah.
But obviously very relevant to payments. I think like you were saying in the beginning, there's just so much greenfield opportunity. Like I think people are really starting to get the idea to like maybe reframe how they think about what technology they could build towards agents instead of the human interface, instead of the that really feels like it's starting to happen, which is really interesting. Even that thing we were sharing today, the being able to run Google Actions for AI locally, like that.
Google, you mean GitHub Actions, yeah.
Doesn't need to be for agents, but that's how people are thinking about it now, right? It's like, oh, let your agents run this locally instead of spinning up containers in Google Actions.
Right. GitHub Actions.
GitHub Actions, yeah.
Google Actions, that'd be interesting. I mean, also it expands the scope too, because like no human, like agents have more patience and more bandwidth. The human's not going to sit and to watch a 10-minute Google Action run. But they're gonna, the agent will be like, oh, I'll spit up 20 of these or run on the Mac Mini. And I think these are like different scopes, and so it's much more expanded scope even.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, I mean, I agree. Like there's a lot of people going for agents, and there should be a lot more. And I think there's a few companies that are really vocal about it, like Ramp, Stripe. Who else? There's a few others. I forget though. But I think there'll be a lot more. I think Intercom shared about how they give their agent access to production to read-only queries or something. But actually, remember that the guy we met in San Francisco, he has a startup where you can clone your production database in like 3 seconds or less, something like that.
Yeah.
I think I've been meaning to reach out to him, but that's actually, there's something there for sure.
Yeah, I have a lot of questions about that. Just like, obviously, it's a function of how big the database is, and
yeah, but he has some trickery around it that he was explaining that I didn't fully understand, but it sounded interesting.
There's some like hard like limits there, though. You're either we don't need to dive into that now, but
part 2 of our podcast.
Yeah, and so not to sort of ham-fistedly swirl back around to what we're making, but I think this whole new internet, really, it feels like a new internet for agents. There's a lot of missing pieces, and it seems like every day we talk about a new piece that we can try to solve. So, I don't know if you want to talk about file and auth and where you've gotten this week on some of those more greenfield concepts, but it's really interesting to me because there's just so much there. It's like, okay, I don't want this agent to screw everything up. It's, there's like a permissions infrastructure here that we need, or just tooling around it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like there's human tools. You think about Google Docs, you can have a document that another human will collaborate on in real time, and that's a problem that is solved.
Yeah.
So now Notion has that, Google Docs has that. But you imagine 15 agents working on a file or a Git. There's nothing that really solves that, actually. But with the agent internet, as you called it, there will be instances where you have a swarm of agents trying to work on a Git repository and need to see each other's changes. And they need to see, okay, who made this change last? Why did they make that change? Or I'm actually going to make this change. I want no one else to touch this. Or I want to see history of this, or I want to attach metadata to it. And so this is what Relay File was born out of, is the ability to have concurrent, fast access to a volume on a distributed system.
Yeah. And so there's this like exchange of building on top of the human internet and the processes and systems and infrastructure that we have there, but that it's not a perfect abstraction for agentic workflows, right? Like just because it worked for a human doesn't mean that it's optimal for an agent.
Yeah, exactly.
So it makes me
wonder,
also, is something like Git even the right, way to think about code changes in an agentic workflow?
Well, yeah, I mean, what's the company? They raised 64 million. I forget now. They started by the GitHub. It's Forbes CTCO. I forget the name, but I think they're trying to solve that to an extent. And a lot of people are thinking about, and there's been a lot of flack towards GitHub, and people think about another alternate Git. I think if humans and agents are collaborating on the system, Git is probably good for now. I don't know if it's the long term. But I was gonna say, back to the file thing, like as you said, if you have an agent that could go off the rails, or an agent that you just want to read code, or you want an agent to not edit the tests so that they pass by cheating, you need to be able to section off aspects of that. So there's a combination of permissioning and file access, that those two can work together, but there's actually two distinct systems where there's permissions and there's actual the file process. And so the permissions are distributed and attached to the files, but then there is, in general, I think, an authorization layer that we attach to agents that can be its own system, which we need in addition to just having the file system. So I think there's those two things I've been focusing on this week, and it's been very interesting to see and work on, because it's not something I need locally, but in a distributed system is needed for agents.
Right. And I think you sort of touched on this, but I just want to emphasize there's also, from a file perspective, it's not just can I write to this, but even does this file exist? So when you think about agents and context windows, you mentioned the test part. Ideally, the testing agent doesn't even see or know anything about what it's testing, right? Mm-hmm. It knows the inputs and outputs.
That's very true, yeah. And I think that's a perfect thing for workflows. If you have a test agent that just writes a test and that's all it sees, and then you have an agent that actually just writes the functions, and then they can coordinate and collaborate, but they actually don't see the other aspects, because agents want to cheat, period. Like they want to get to the final result. They want to please the human. So they'll take shortcuts to say, oh, I can do X, Y, Z instead of doing the whole alphabet, and get to the actual result. And that is something that I'm fighting with AI every day on, to say, hey, no, I want, like, what is the most robust solution, not the simple solution.
Push back on it a little bit.
Yeah, always, like all day.
You can really design, like sometimes we talk about with humans, the burden of knowledge and how that can influence your what you produce, because you know what the answer is going to be, so it sort of leads you to the answer in the process.
Yeah.
What's really interesting with agents and how it's different than humans is like you can construct an agent without the burden of knowledge, right? Like you can have a fresh perspective
Right.
every time, and that's really powered by relay file. Like the only way that I know of that you can really set the context to exactly what you want it to be. Like I only want these files to even be known to this being agent.
It's interesting because right. It's interesting because sometimes you want the agent to have memory, and there's a lot of people trying to solve that problem, like super memory, and even Claude has a built-in memory system. But then sometimes you don't want it to have memory, as you said, and you want it to have fresh context. And a lot of times for review, like in a workflow, I'll say like, look at this with fresh eyes, because then it sees problems that it didn't see before. So sometimes memory is actually toxic.
Yeah. Yeah, and this comes back to really what we were talking about in the beginning. We were talking about it sort of in a human context of agent content and agent music and things like that. Context is everything. We're back to my favorite. Context is everything, right? And what context you put into the system is really what's going to dictate what comes out of the system. And so more tooling around how to set context, more strategies around where the lines are that you can predetermine, I think makes a much better output for whatever endeavor you're doing. So if it's writing code, or if it's creating music, or if it's having an agent that handles customer service, right? Like context.
Yeah, and I'm really excited because Relay File extends to systems other than code. So you can have agents using Relay File to work on Salesforce, and they'll see the Salesforce entities as a file system, which we know agents are really good at navigating. And I think there are problems and things that we don't even know about because we've been working strictly in code. But if you have an agent working in Salesforce, Notions, and HubSpot via Relay File, I think there's other things we'll have to solve for those type of integrations where it's actually visualized as a file system to the agent.
Yeah, super powerful.
Sounds like a good ending point.
Yeah, I think we're 7 minutes over. So
I am curious about Pair though. Can you give me because you have the cloud piece.
Yeah.
You have
so Pair is how I've been dogfooding the app this week, or Agent Relay. As the name implies, it's all about pairing with agents and other humans. And so really our cloud infrastructure that we launched last week is being leveraged. Run an agent or sets of agents in the cloud and be able to communicate with them with another human collaborator is the goal. It's not built yet, but.
So is Pair local human remote agent?
Yes, and it could be 2 remote humans. I guess in the minimum case, it could be 2 remote humans or 1 remote or 1 human locally. Okay. The lines between remote and client get kind of funny, right. Which we were just talking about. I want a way to extend a session from local to client to remote, mm-hmm. But no, the idea is that it's really 2 clients, so 2 remotes, and they can communicate with each other and have the agents working alongside humans towards whatever the product is. Now with Pair, that's the vision. With Pair today, there's the primary local user, human, which is going to spawn the first agent and have the context and kick that off to a remote, but enabling a second human to communicate with the agents that have been spawned by the human, communicate with the other human, and also observe what the agents are doing.
And so it sounds like it's a perfect case for a Relay File too, because you need
absolutely
remote access. What's interesting, because we were like working on that, like not together necessarily, but it's almost like fits like that.
Yeah, I'm enjoying a lot of the work we're doing, particularly this week, because I think it was much more dev heavy, but we've both independently discovered some things that we need or have crossed paths a little bit. And seeing as the system, our Agent Relay system gets more and more robust, we keep adding and starting with just messaging and then scheduling and files and authentication, like all of those things coming together, and just having them at our disposal is really cool. So
Yeah,
very optimistic about the future.
This is where the magic starts to come in. And also, I think I need relay crons for my senior dev MSD for review. So it's
you should hook it up.
Now we're way over, but yeah, it's fun when like the magic starts to sizzle, if you will.
I just wonder. So if I think about, and I'll end on this, but I think about our origin, like that. What was the name of the Brooklyn hotel we were in? I can't remember.
Yeah, I remember.
Whatever. I just remember
by
being
the fireplace.
And I remember thinking about, like, I went back to work the next day or the day after, whatever, and like going back to, at that point I think I was still using Cursor, and feeling like, I had gotten off the motorcycle and now I was back to walking down the road. And now, fast forward to where we are today, and that feeling is similar to when you just like spin open a raw Claude Code instance where it's like, contabulating for 15 minutes or whatever, and you're like, oh my God, where's the rest of the team?
Where's my codex? Yeah.
The feeling you get, for me, like this, but when Barry lost access and I only had one agent that I was communicating with remotely with Telegram, suddenly that felt really slow. And so it's like, it's been a couple months maybe since that. So like, what does June look like for us? Like, are we in June, when we have all these, agent relay, all these components have been added up over time? I'm interested to see how that feels to come back to this moment where it feels like we're moving really quickly, and then it's like, oh wow,
Well, so then I think it's really a team. So you said pair, like you have another human working on pair, and you have a team that includes agents and people all collaborating on something together, or working on and seeing the changes. So like, it's almost like you see like the thing like pulsating as you work on it, because everyone's like collaborating on it. So I think that's really the next level.
And how awesome is that world going to be? I mean, we talk a lot about in our pitch about the execution phase of software development going to zero, but I feel like we're so close now. Like, there's a couple pieces we snap in, and it really could be, we're chatting in pair or whatever the UI version of it becomes. Maybe even you just hang out in a video call, but to be able to just talk through it and have the agents quickly build it, right? Mm-hmm. On their rails, in their roles, with the QA, with the file permissions, and have that run remotely. And harder problems maybe take a little bit longer, but while you're talking with another human, seeing it being created, like I really can see that vision coming quick. So
absolutely. And there's a lot of pieces that I think will pick up that we don't have to build to them. There's a lot of like browser tooling and remote execution of testing that I think it'd be fun to build everything, but I think there'll be some pieces that we'll pick up on as well. That'll be interesting pieces to add in.
Agreed. Clegg, when's the last time you wrote a single line of code?
I don't know. I mean, today I wrote, I changed some package versions in the package.json. So I still use Vim. So I opened up Vim to edit some package versions.
You still knew how to use the keyboard to type?
Yeah. I read so much code, but writing, not so much.
I was struggling launching something, and it was an SSD configuration thing, and the agents weren't figuring it out, and I actually went in and wrote some code yesterday.
Wow.
Talking about feeling slow.
Yeah. And rusty probably too, right?
Yeah, actually. I did we didn't even have the type checker on. It was a wild experience. I think the reason I'm bringing it up is because it felt so strange.
Yeah, that's crazy. I think at some point I will miss writing code.
Yeah.
And then it'll be like, let me make a HTML site. It'll take me 2 days to write.
Artisanal code will be made just.
Yeah, it's like someone doing like antique, like making like
yeah.
which is crazy. But yeah.
All right,
Until
Quick.
next time.
Till next time.
Adios.
Well, I got this.
No. Okay.
We're done.
On that note, yes.